What is up, Bills Mafia? I'm Michael F Florio. That is not Stevie Johnson. That is the one and only Drew Buckets. We will get into everything, but Drew, before we do, I have to ask you, what is your
What's
favorite
up, brother?
Christmas song?
My favorite Christmas song? Silent Night. I love it.
Ooh.
It's harmonic. It's calming. Doesn't have that many vocals. I love it.
I like it. That's a good one. I don't really have a set. I like Baby It's Cold Outside by Mac Miller and Ariana Grande because I'm biased.
Hey, that's a good
Lil
version.
Jon has a really good new Christmas song that's out, but I mean the classics are for me. I love
DMX Rudolph is up there.
Yep. The Chipmunk song. I like that one as well.
Yeah.
And you gotta mention Mariah Carey. I do want to know what Stevie's favorite song is. We will find out if he joins us, but for right now, Sammy, hit it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Bills Banter with Stevie Johnson and Michael F. Florio.
Fitzpatrick fires. Oh, caught! Steve Johnson! Touchdown, Buffalo! Why so serious?
The sickest Buffalo Bills podcast.
Allen will run it himself. He pumps. Got some daylight. Hurdles to the end zone.
It's gonna be sick.
So normally we're here with the legend. Right now we got a different legend. We got Drew Buckets joining us. And Drew, normally before Stevie does his segments, we hit a little fun thing. We got one for you today. So if you want, say Sammy, hit it, and then they'll play it.
Sammy, hit it. Hey, I'm honored, fellas. That's dope.
It's very chill music, which matches the chill vibe that you bring to the Buffalo Bills and to this podcast. And look, Drew, we got some stuff to talk about, but you should head over to Cigar Mafia because the Bills won. It is a Victory Monday on this podcast, so there's only one way to get to celebrate a Bills victory, and that's by heading over to cigarmafia.com. Not only do they have cigars, that sweet victory that Stevie's always pulling out, the Air Jordan cap that he's wearing, all that you could get over at Cigar Mafia. Plus, if you live in the Buffalo area, they have 3 different locations, including one at Orchard Park. So make sure to head over there. But Drew, this weekend, the Bills pulled out a much closer than expected victory, I would say, against the Browns, 23-20. You bringing the chill vibes that you do. What was your biggest takeaway? Anything that you're worried about, or are you more like a win is a win and this is good?
Well, we got, as my kids call it, 3 sleeps till Santa comes, and I'm still wishing for a run D. So, my goodness, I hope that comes down my chimney this year because we need it if we're gonna make a late push. I think our D line got pressure. Groot was awesome this week. 9.5 pressures, 7 hits. We got the deflections, we got the 2 turnovers, but I'm looking at the gauntlet ahead of us of who we could play in the playoffs and who we got this week. And man, you want to talk about a daunting task. Saquon put up 132 last week against the Commanders. People are saying in the community that he's going to put up 600 in the snow, and I don't blame him for saying it. So,
yeah, Saquon is very scary. Jalen Hurts is as well because going back to yesterday in the first, all game, like Shador led the Browns in rushing yards, but it was the timeliness of those runs too, 3rd and longs and stuff like that, and I do a pregame show for works that finishes at 10 a.m. right at kickoff. And it usually takes me about 5-10 minutes to change and get in the car before I head home to watch the game. So a lot of the beginning of the games I'm catching on my phone, and I texted you within 2 minutes of the game, like even on 3rd and long, against the Browns, they can't get off the field. And the defense played well yesterday. But
they went 9 for 14. The Browns were 9 for 14 on 3rd downs. They're rocking 64%, we were two of 7, I think. I mean, the third down conversion rate is just atrocious for us, and we're giving up a ton. I mean, they're not scared of us on third down. There's
Nor
zero.
should they be.
They're right. I agree.
But it takes me to the concern that we've had all year long with the defense, right? If they don't get a turnover, you're giving up points. Like unless it's like the end of the game where the Browns' back's against the wall and you could be uber aggressive and go all after the quarterback. But yeah, anything else? And it was so unfortunate what happened to Quinshaw Judkins. But if he stays healthy, he runs wild against that Bills defense. I have no doubt about it.
Yeah. He was gashing us. And Shador had more, I think he had more yards in the first drive than he did in the first half the week before. And you know what's a scary stat? The Bills have given up 7 straight games, first down or first drive touchdowns. 7 in a row.
Like clockwork, man. I tweeted out almost weekly. I'm like, I haven't in a bit because people get the point, but it's death taxes first drive touchdown against the Bills. And it's not even
so true.
Drew, it's not even just the first 15 scripted plays, right? Like it takes an entire half for this defense. I don't know what it is because they go back in the second half. I guess they change, they make adjustments and stuff, but where is this look, I don't want to keep beating this horse of like I'm the guy that's anti McDermott because I do think McDermott is a nice guy, he's a good coach, all of that. But I keep giving them credit for their second half adjustments. But Drew, you're a quote unquote defensive mastermind. Where is that leading up to because yes, the first 15 plays are scripted by the offense. The defense is prepared for that coming in, and it is atrocious preparation, it seems, each week.
Well, and that's what the community was talking about. You know, everyone wants to talk about, like, Sean with glasses on, glasses off. That's the most ridiculous stat in the NFL. Like, it's just an odd correlation. But he's not – I don't think he's calling the plays. I literally think he's hands off there in the game. There was 1 week, I think it was like 4 or 5, you know, where we saw him with a piece of paper on the sidelines that he was like kind of calling. But ever since then, he has been hands off. No one's seen that. And it's like, if you're the defensive guru and you can, you know, lead these guys to the game day, you know, take that play calling back and, you know, show us why they call you that. You know, I mean, if Muki joins in later, I'm sure he can, you know, maybe provide a little bit more insight on what's happening on that. But like,
speaking of which, Sammy, you got to hit it again. Sammy is killing it, and the one and only Don Muki is here with us.
Ask and you shall receive, right? I just popped up like a zoo or something.
I love it. I'm so happy you're here to join us. And we were just talking, and you're a good person to ask about this because you're there with the players and the coaches and stuff. What goes on in the first half that the defense comes out absolutely not ready and then makes a bunch of changes in the second half?
What did Gazoo used to call Fred and Barney dum-dums?
Yeah.
But I think at one point McDermott did take over. I guess that's when he did have the glasses on, right? He took over, but I guess sometimes you just got to show people what you mean by certain things. And the best way to do it is to show you what I'm talking about. So I did believe at some point Coach McDermott did take over the play calling duties, like right after that bye week, just to show this is what he wants. I mean, when you look at the recipe that Coach McDermott has placed, he has called the plays at time, but he's definitely put that power back into Bobby Babbage. But you still see what McDermott was able to leave his imprint with. Like when you seen that ultimate switch of Jordan Poyer being out there on the field with Cole Bishop, you just saw a drastic change in the way Cole Bishop played the game. You got Jordan Hancock and those guys out there on third down 9 times out of 10 players off the field. But yesterday, Jordan Poyer was able to, make some plays and show everybody and remind everybody of the, excuse me, the all-pro player that he is going out there and making plays. I mean, crucial touchdown saving tackles. Let's start there because there's a lot of missed tackles in that game yesterday. And then obviously having a knack for being around the football, being his all-pro self, making plays for the team when needed. So you see that change, and eventually that's going to play off. And it paid off big dividends, yesterday. But make no mistake about it, it's definitely Coaches McDermott imprint. He just relinquished the play calling duties back to Bobby Babich. And the thing about it is they make the great adjustments in second half. So the second half, no doubt, is Coach McDermott. But Bobby Babich is definitely dialing it up. You see more Bobby's blitzing because Bobby's was a more of aggressive style.
Right.
McDermott was a little bit more passive aggressive, but you see Bobby Babich imprint on, calling the shots more early and often in ball games. That's what you see, especially at the end, right? Man, just pull your heels back and go get these guys, right? Could have did that the entire game. We shouldn't have to wait at the end to do that, but
yeah,
we saw
it. And that's the thing, right? Like it has worked. You were able to come back against the Ravens in week 1. You were able to come back against the Bucks, the Bengals, the Patriots, and now the Browns. But it feels like that's a tough recipe for success once you get in the playoffs, because if you fall 2 scores behind to the Denver Broncos or the Jaguars or the Texans, those are top level defenses that you're going to see. And there's no guarantee that Josh and James could just throw on the cape every single time. So even if the defense makes that adjustments in the second half, they might have to be perfect, to win. So look, it's working. We're going to talk about
this is where we're going to find out. This is where you're going to find out where Joe Brady's at. You know what I mean? This is where we're going to find out where Joe Brady's at. When the tough gets tough, when is we're going to see? Are we going to see the second half of what we saw in the Cleveland game? Because right now, to me, it feels like the defense is kind of been on offense out in areas. They shouldn't. So are we going to see that? I mean, I didn't know what I saw offensively yesterday, but the first half, I liked what I saw in the first half. I saw a completely different offense out there. I saw James Cook running wild. And then second half, I didn't see those plays anymore. It's like we resort to bad habits, and it almost cost us a game in so many facets of it, right? Like you have a 23-10 lead.
Yep.
And then, we take the foot off the gas, man. Like that'd be the issue. And that's from offense. Like you taking the foot off the gas offensively, and then you putting your defense in situations. They can only do so much throughout the course of a football game. Cleveland is going to make some plays at some point. If we just keep, stalling out now in this second half because we haven't adjusted to what they adjusted to in the first half, or we just completely went away for what worked in the first half. So, I think that I'm very critical of Brady. I'm very critical of Brady. I just am. I coach offense, so I see the game a little bit more different with the pieces that he do have to work with. And I don't want to hear that the wide receivers, it's wide receivers. It's more of a coordination than anything. But this gritty team, I said it on my Twitter page yesterday, they're just regularly good, right? And I know it's not the fashion that Bills fans want this team to win each and every week. But the identity of this team is just a gritty-ass Bills team. They're a gritty team. But we have not seen a gritty Bills team in the McDermott, Bean, Josh Allen era. So, again, they could beat you on their worst day. That's what I mean by the Bills are just regularly good. They could afford to turn it on and off, but you can't do that in the playoffs because everybody is just as equal when it comes playoff time. You're just going to have to be ready to, take care of business. They can't afford to do that in the playoffs. Not at all.
And Drew, what is the community saying about the pass catchers? Because I do agree at some point we need to stop using that. But at the same point in time, it's hard to stop using that when 2 weeks in a row Brandon Cooks drops a should-be long ball. It was like a 30-yarder this week. It was a 50-plus yarder last week. Dawson Knox dropping the wide-open touchdown. It's hard enough to scheme people open in this system, but if you're out there, and I'm not knocking Dawson Knox because everyone's going to have a drop here or there, but Brandon Cooks, dude, if he's going to be out there, I get it. He's fast. He could get open, but if he can't catch the ball, like it's kind of the opposite of Keon. Okay, you can create space, but you're not doing anything with it. Keon can't create space, so like it's just another option that I don't think Josh has a lot of trust in. And speaking of Keon, him and Gabe Davis healthy scratches yesterday. So, Drew, what do you think, and what were you seeing online? Like, are because I, as just an observer, I'm getting kind of fed up with it.
Yeah, everyone. I'm going to speak with the community first. Everyone's like, I saw the Bills PR put out the inactives, hour and a half before, and it was an instant question mark going around. What is happening and why? Everyone is like, if it's a healthy scratch, did they do something, to get in trouble? Are they in the doghouse? Is it just a scheme move? No one knows. And the results on the field and the target, everyone eats mantra is, everyone's going hungry at this point except the tight ends. And, it's, things that we've talked about, but they're confused. They don't understand, especially when Cooks goes out there and does the drop. I saw the feed just go crazy with, Keon could have caught that. Gabe definitely would have caught that. They said Gabe would have ran through a wall 3 or 4 rows in the stands and still caught that ball and, whatever. But, the Dawson Knox thing, the sun could have been in his eyes. It could have lost it for a minute. Who knows? But everyone has those moments. Thankfully, it didn't cost us the game. But they're questioning the moves and what we're doing. But for me, I'm with them. I don't know. I texted y'all before. I wish I knew what it was, and it was my bad that I forgot. McCole was coming back, so that kind of takes one spot, right? But we didn't see him get a target. Did he get a target downfield, or was he just special teams?
I don't believe so, but I could check.
I don't think he got a target.
He didn't get a target. He returned some punts.
Right.
But if anybody's doghouse, Keon Coleman, it is definitely Joe Brady's doghouse. He is in
for sure.
I get it not being a disciplinary thing. They wanted to. I'm thinking all of us were thinking that they was going to go with some sort of speed package, quick game, just get the ball in their hands because of the Myles Garrett, debacle.
Right.
Case. But it's just what it is. I mean, it's not a wide receiver problem. It's a scheme problem.
Yep.
They're still getting one catch. Like if you would have brought Waddle here, he would have got one catch. Like it's not. That made him free.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say we broke Florio.
That's just the offense, though. It's just and I, Bills fan, we need to have that same energy because Keon dropped one pass and everybody want to just,
throw him to the island of misfit toys.
They had the same selective criticism because if Cleveland somehow puts a drive together, we'll be talking about those drop passes more than we need to be talking about them that. You can't blame Keon Coleman for them drop passes yesterday. No. So they should have that same selective energy. When it comes to, Dawson Knox, you're a veteran, you got to make that catch. No excuses, sun being in your eyes or anything. You got to make that catch. But Brandon Cooks, we brought you in here to make those type of catches. You got to make those catches or give that play to somebody else. Don't just not go away from it because Brandon Cooks didn't catch it. Run that play with Joshua Palmer. Run that play with Shavers.
Right.
Run it with McCole Harmon. No, just run it if we know that play is wide open every time you ran it. And every time you called that play, he was wide open. Just
wide open.
Just run it with somebody else. Run it with Khalil.
You got to catch it, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right. So you can't blame Keon Coleman, for that.
You know who I will blame? Josh Palmer, right? Like Josh Palmer was the big offseason signing. He was the guy who was supposed to come in. They paid him like twice as much as Matt Collins got paid. I'm watching Matt Collins do Matt Collins things for the Patriots. Matt Collins would be the best Bills out wide receiver this year, and I don't think it would be even close. But you handpicked Josh Palmer and paid him, and he is a rotational piece who saw one target yesterday. Outside of that, like long catch against Baltimore, I'm having trouble remembering a signature Josh Palmer moment, and I don't think it's a Josh Palmer problem. Because this is who Josh Palmer has been his whole career. He's always been a wide receiver 3 who will step up occasionally and then vanish for a couple of games. I blame Brandon Beane for handpicking him and saying this is going to be the guy that changes our wide receiver room. And maybe it's a lot of just beating a dead horse, and maybe it's Joe Brady to blame. I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say it's 100% this person or that person. I think it's a collective blame, but sure. This building of a wide receiver room and a scheme for these, it just simply hasn't worked. And I think the fact that they are still Super Bowl contenders, despite that receiver room and that defense, speaks a lot to Josh Allen, James Cook, and that offensive line.
Right. Absolutely. But my thing is this: when you look at Joe Brady makeup in anything other than LSU, what did he do with the receivers he had in Carolina? What did he do when he had Stephon Diggs here? You know what I mean? So that's just what it is. I told y'all before, this offense is only within 30 yards of Brady's scheme. Nothing is downfield. Right. It's within 30 yards. That's what it is. So if I'm Brandon Beane thinking, we got a more deep ball threat, why is he not being used? You know, so maybe that's where the scheme and the player being brought in, that's where that's clashing. It's not working. If I say we got to get Josh Allen a piece that can stretch the field and get the separation, okay, Brady, why you don't have more plays designed for Palmer the way you have them designed for Kincaid and Khalil Shakur? Because they're the only ones that got plays designed for them. I mean, like, it was blatant. You went to Khalil Shakur on 3rd and 4. You keep running that trio play where he just do a quick out and gets nowhere. Like, you take the ball out of Josh Allen's hands by calling those plays on 3rd down. Then it was like at one point, it was like 1 for 5 on 3rd down, and Cleveland was 8 for 12 at one point on 3rd down. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't understand. Like, when it's time for 3rd down, they know the Bills make up on 3rd down. That's why they success rate. I'm not sure maybe you can pull that number up, but on 3rd down, they're not winning as much as they are because they throw the ball sideways and not throwing the ball down the field.
Last week was 29%. 29%. And here's the thing, too. Sorry, Guru. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
The weather in Cleveland was perfect. Might have been a little breezy, but think about this. This week in Orchard Park, it's going to be in the 20s potentially from what I've read. It's early, but they're talking snow and upwards of 40-plus mile-an-hour winds potentially. Like gusts of 40, sustained 20. So you're talking in perfect weather in Cleveland. They can't get the ball downfield at all. And now the Philadelphia Eagles are sitting back being like, we're going to have a weather game. It's all going to be on James Cook and Josh Allen regardless. And depending on his foot, right, or his ankle. And we haven't even talked about that yet. 23 minutes in, we haven't even talked about that yet. But if we can't get the ball downfield in perfect weather, we're sure as hell not going to do it in cold weather with a potential of a crap field. Like there's no way.
See,
and
that should
Stevie would say that's our weather because it is, but like it with this scheme, it's not.
Theoretically, that should play into the Bills' hands because if you can't throw deep, now the weather is all right. Now you should be able to win underneath and with catch and run and stuff, but it doesn't play into the Bills' hands at all because you cannot stop the run on defense to save your life. And
Bingo.
If it becomes one of those games where you don't get chunk plays through the air, like you said, it all comes down to James Cook. And I would take my chances with James Cook against most running backs. The issue is James Cook has to do it against the Eagles defense. Saquon and Jalen Hurts gets to do it against the Bills defense, which is night and day against the run.
Right. And this year, I'm not necessarily worried about Jalen Hurts' legs. He only has, I think, 108 yards and 4 touchdowns total for the year. It's Saquon. I know.
It's more. It's the Bills defense. Like
Jordan Sanders led the team in rushing yesterday.
Exactly. That's the thing. Up until this point, Jalen Hurts has done little on the ground compared to recent years. You watch this week. He's going to have record numbers.
He's going to have his best rushing game of the year, probably.
100%.
If the one caveat is the Eagles, they've locked up the division. It's like 90% odds they're going to be the 3rd seed. They might not go all out in this game because they just simply don't have to. But I'm not banking on that. That is just one. But Drew, you brought it up. So Josh Allen's foot. We all were holding our breath yesterday. We were texting. We were worried. Muki, you got to speak with them today. I know they said the update is he's day to day and he's going to be okay, but do you think this is something that is going to be concerning the rest of the way, or is this just a couple of day thing?
Well, we have to see. I know he didn't attempt to run after the injury, and I was kind of right there, when that play actually happened. I had family there, so I went down to go meet them right there where Josh pivoted, and it seemed like he got his foot just stuck in the turf there for some strange reason. He fell, but he was able to put pressure on it. I don't think it affected any of his throws, but maybe what? Some did sell late in the game.
It did.
You know what I mean? Some did
he
sell
didn't
late.
plant well. Yeah.
He missed a few, so we have to see how that transpired during the course of the week. And right now he's day to day, but we'll see on Wednesday. When we get a good glimpse on what his mobility is looking like. So right now it's just day to day, but Josh is a warrior, so
yeah.
He'll
I think
be
all
ready
Bills
to roll.
fans would agree with this because it's possible by the end of tonight the Bills have clinched the playoff spot. Obviously, you want the 5 seed, and you still have a chance at the division if the Patriots lose one of these next 2 games. But if you have to choose between that or having a healthy Josh Allen for the playoffs, 10 out of 10 times you choose the healthy Josh Allen. So 100%. If they have to sit him a game or 2, look, I want him to play this week. It sounds like he's going to play this week. I have him in fantasy. It's the fantasy championships. I need that. But for the Bills to win a championship, Josh being healthy is the biggest ingredient. But speaking of winning a championship, as of today, the most likely outcome is the Bills will be the 5 seed because the Patriots will need to lose to one of Brady Cook or Quinn Ewers to get that. I'm not really banking on that being the case. The Bengals, the Broncos and Chargers still play each other next week.
Yep.
So whichever team loses that game would be behind the Bills if the Bills win out. If the Bills lose one, it changes things a little bit. Right. And then the Texans are currently a game behind them as well. So if the Bills win out, they cannot catch them. So and they have a pretty tough schedule. They play the Chargers next week as well, actually. So one of those 2 teams are guaranteed to lose as well. So the math, everyone put the math together. It looks like Bills 5th seed, which when you look at it would mean something like the Patriots getting like one of the Broncos, Chargers, or Texans. One of those 2 teams would take each other out. The Jags would get one of those other ones. One of those 2 teams take each other out. And the Bills get the Steelers unless they lose out and the Ravens win out, which also seems unlikely with them getting the Browns this week. So while being the 5th seed, I think you could make an argument that if you were to rank the AFC playoff teams, the Steelers are probably number 7. The Bills, yes, they have to go on the road, but I think you can argue this is outside of being at home. This is best case scenario for Buffalo.
I agree. We've been saying they were going to be the 5th seed for 6 weeks now, roughly. That was what the projections have been. That's what everyone's slotted 5th or 6th. So I think that's going to be, where they land. And I wouldn't mind dominating the Steelers again. So
4th and 5. So that means your next matchup will be against the 1 seed.
Unless there's like Houston could pull off an upset.
And beat who? Jacksonville?
Well, I guess it would all depend on the seeding.
Now. Jacksonville can be 1 seed too now.
Yeah.
But if the 6 or 7 seed won, then it would reseed and the Bills would not get the 1 seed. But still, like, you're gonna have some of these teams cannibalizing one another. Yeah. And look, if the Bills can't get by a 42-year-old, because he will be 42 by the playoffs, if you can't get by a 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers home or away, you're not a Super Bowl contender to begin with.
Right. I agree.
And I think they might be sitting Metcalf. I know he got a 2-game suspension. He's going to try to appeal it, I heard. But they're talking about putting him in an even bigger doghouse if they even get there. He might be out for that game too. Going after that fan yesterday.
Interesting.
So even after the Steelers, right? Like, is there any team, and Muki, you could go first, that you look at in the AFC playoffs that you're like, I have not zero faith, but I would be surprised if the Bills beat that team?
No team to me really scared the Bills. The Bills really to me scared themselves on what's their approach on who they're playing. Like, only one would probably be me right now is Houston, because it seemed like they was kind of scared of Houston. You know what I mean? They just let Houston at it will. They didn't have an answer for what Houston was doing, and that scares me. You know what I mean? Other than that, nothing to me really scares any team in the AFC East when you look at playoff caliber football. Bills probably has the most experience at this point with that, no matter where they are. It's a home, away, Myers, whatever. I'll think the Bills' chances are higher than anybody's to make it to the Super Bowl. Once they get in, I mean, who cares about the seeding at this point? This is like I said, this is a regularly good team. I think they probably just going through the motions. So, they got something to play for. And you don't need a number one. You don't need a division, especially if you ain't got the number one seed. Hey, you knock everybody off. You never know how it may play out. You may play an AFC Championship game at the crib, because they're going to have to play. If they're a fifth seed, then they're going to play the top team. 4 plays 5, so they playing the team with the bye week. Whoever that 1 seed will be, 2 will play. The other part of the bracket. So it's either going to be Jacksonville, New England, or the Broncos, and I think the Bills can beat any one of those 3 teams. If Brady gets in his bag, then they could beat anybody. This to me is going to be solely on the offense. It's not just to me right here. It's not going to be on the defense. I think the defense is doing more with less, and it's going to take the offense to help the defense out come playoff time with points.
How about you, Drew?
I was going to say the Texans are probably my, the skeleton in the closet. We would love to get that one back. I remember the conversation that we had on the pod after that one, where they just did not, respect us at any point in time, especially on third down when they just played up on us. I would love to get that one back. The way the Chargers played yesterday, and the way that Herbert has been throwing the ball lately to his guys downfield, that matchup could be a potential, nightmare, just because they got so many weapons, and they're slinging it right now. So
you got number 1 pass defense now. Don't discredit that.
I know.
Pass defense.
I know.
Benford should be an all-pro this year. I don't want to hear about nobody else but Sertan and Christian Benford. This guy is locking everybody up. He's playing
everyone down. But I mean, we got one dude. He can't. I mean, they got 3 big weapons
lately.
You got Mad Max now. You got Mad Max like down Stephon Diggs now, straps.
And we got Bishop back there. Yeah, we got Bishop back there. We got All Pro Poe. I get it. I'm just saying the way they've been throwing the ball lately, it's on another level of accuracy, and with our defense. I mean, if we can knock it down, that'd be awesome to see. Don't get me wrong. I would love to do it. I'd love to have the chance to do it, but the Texans and the Chargers have been balling right now, and I mean, we can't sleep on what the Jags have been doing either. They've been rolling.
So for me, I agree with both of you. It's Houston that is my number 1 fear.
Yeah.
I think it is huge. Like, if you're a Bills fan, you're rooting for the Chargers this week. You need the Chargers to stay that game back because they have the tiebreaker, and I don't want to have to play them in. Like, let's say that's the AFC Championship game. The 2 lower seeds upset everybody. If that game's in Buffalo, I think it's a completely different game than it is in Houston. The Chargers is an interesting one because they're very similar to the Bills. They are very good against the pass. They struggle against the run, but they have better receivers, but they have big offensive line issues. And then people have mentioned the Broncos, and I'm like, look, I know it's a different team. It's a different year, but we saw a similar version of this Bills offense go for 31 straight points against them last year. So I do think they could have success there. I don't know why the Jags kind of scare me because I don't think they're as good defensively as some of those other teams. I don't think they're as good offensively as some of those other teams, but they're just clicking right now and they're hot. And those are scary teams when you face a team that thinks that like no one could touch them right now and they have every reason to feel that way. Those are teams that tend to scare me a bit in the playoffs.
Coach just scored.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers is throwing that thing right now.
That's what they brought him in to do.
Yup. Gramps is chucking it.
Let it rip.
Hey.
Yep. Before we go, I do want to ask you guys each. Muki, you said if they could get in their bag. Do you think they're saving stuff for the playoffs, or do you think this is kind of what we see?
It kind of looked like it. Because if you're not, then what the hell you been doing all season long? Right.
Right.
You know, I mean, what I saw in the first half versus Cleveland, I didn't see those plays before. And, you know, they rack off three touchdowns on their possessions. In the second half, the last 5, 3 punts, turnover on downs, and 1 field goal. And that was because of a turnover. So they fizzled out in the second half. And I don't want to you have to be prepared for the adjustments. You know they're going to make adjustments on what you did in the second half. But for you not to go back to even check and see if they made adjustments, and then you just going to switch your game plan. That's what it looked like to me. They just completely switched their game plan because they thought that the teams were onto it, and they just went completely away from James Cook again. I mean, you
can't do that in the playoffs.
For 44 yards. Like, where are those plays going? Then, you know, they get stuck on, you know, Khalil Shakur. They put him in the backfield, threw the ball to him. It was so obvious, you know, that it was 4th and 1, you know, because he barely, you know, like, come on. Like, you got to be more creative in your play design when you do that. Like, you just got to be a little bit more creative. I don't see it. And everything is geared towards, again, the slot and the tight end. Nothing is for the receivers. I can't recall when the last time a Buffalo Bills receiver had 3 catches or more than 3 targets.
Yesterday, Shakir was the only player with more than 2 targets.
He's a slot. He's always getting the bulk of the carries. You take him on fantasy, he's definitely going to get his catches. He's definitely going to get 4. He's definitely going to get 6, 7 targets a game, 4 or 5 catches a game. He's going to give you 40 yards every week. You know, he's the most consistent Bill on the team. So defensively, it's schemed around Khalil Shakur. You know, if he don't break a tackle,
that's what the whole offense is built off of. Like, I know he's great after the catch, but like you're building everything off of that. Like, because they use that play so often, and I know it works, but when you use it that much, it becomes a little bit easier to stop because teams are so prepared for it and they know when it's coming. Last thing I do want to say, I do think it's really good for the defense that they have faced the Bucks, the Bengals, the Patriots, the Eagles. Like, their defense they're facing playoff level offense. Like, the Bengals might not be a playoff team, but that offense is. The Bucks might not get in, but they have the talent. They've won it 5 years in a row, the division prior to this. Like, the Eagles are the defending Super Bowl champs. The Patriots might be the 1 seed. Like, they're facing top tier playoff caliber offenses, I would say. So I kind of like that as a fine tuning for them. And then they get the Jets in week 18, which can kind of be like a mini bye to them. So I'm trying to be positive.
Well, that won't be no mini bye. That's the last game at Highmark. So
true.
You already know what that game going to be about. I think they come out in the red helmets. I don't know, something going. You know, it's the last couple of games at Highmark, so it's going to be a little bit different in the setup.
These red helmets.
Yeah, that's what they teased.
Mm-hmm.
I know Josh loves them.
You can't be playing around the last game at Highmark, going through the motions.
Hopefully it's not the last game, like we were saying. Hopefully they lower seeds handle business, and that game is the AFC Championship game is the last game there. But a lot of football to be played before then, but not for us on this pod because I lost this week, which means all of us from the podcast are now eliminated in our fantasy league, and I have no one to blame but myself. I sat a lot of high-scoring players this week. It's what happens when you have too much depth. I made a couple of wrong decisions, and it cost me. But before we go, I'm gonna ask you guys this. I know it's Monday. A lot could change before Sunday. What do you think, though? Muki, you could go first. Do you think the Bills win or lose this Sunday?
Oh, they win. You know, because now this is it's the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Some believe that this should have been the Super Bowl last year. So it's not about playing down to your level of competition when it's the Philadelphia Eagles, right? So you're going to see the best version of this Bills team because I'm quite sure that they're not the favorite coming into this game. You know,
I think they're slight favorite only because they're home.
Like 1.5, 2 point favorites.
Yeah, but understanding who they're playing, it's not like you're playing Cleveland.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's not like that. Like, so they're going to probably be on their best behavior and play with a little bit more urgency. They know they can't play around with a Philadelphia Eagles team because they will get blown out. So they're going to be a little bit more on their P's and Q's, and then obviously, it's time to play championship caliber football. And which way to other have it during the end of the season is to be playing the defending champions, right? So you see where you are, when you're playing just the best. The best that you can get on the schedule right now, so you're definitely going to see the boys are going to be ready for the challenge. I do believe that the Bills will win these next 2 games, and they will beat Philadelphia because, they are the standard. They're the benchmark. So you definitely want to be able to play your best against, a team that's considered of that.
Drew, how about you?
I agree. I think it's going to be a tight one, coming down to the end, but I think the late game adjustments that we've been making all year are going to have us in our bag coming in. I think the defense can hold. They might bend, but I don't think they're going to break. And I think that just like we saw recently, I think a couple balls go our way. I think that they're going to get a couple turnovers, get a couple key stops, which will make the game, in our favor. And we're at home. We're coming home. We're finishing the 2 games at home, and Highmark is going to be rocking. I already have seen people planning, they're like, Christmas is like second fiddle this week. I've literally seen people saying, like, we're going to have our Christmas next week because right now we're preparing for the Eagles. So it's going to be wild. So I think no matter what the weather is, Mafia shows up and puts on a show. So.
Could be a Matt Judon signing too. Let's not forget about that.
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
I was
that would be fun.
That.
Get him up and acclimated a little bit. Maybe we get Ed Oliver at some point too. He's been in the facilities a lot. I don't think in the regular season, but maybe in the playoffs or
playoffs.
But
you'll be hearing about Ed Oliver when the season is over. Right after the Jets game, you'll start seeing what's the checkup on him. I mean, he had it scheduled. We'll just see, is he on task to, to play that first round of the playoffs. If not, definitely the second game. I don't think nobody's going to be able to stop that guy if, the second playoff game, if he, the Bills do what they do in the first playoff game. If he doesn't play, you're not going to stop him on that second game.
That would be
Muki, let me ask you this. How's Shaq?
Thompson? Yeah, neck injury.
Neck?
So, we'll just have to see on Wednesday. Neck injury is a little bit more serious to deal with. Especially, when it starts to get cold and stuff like that. But maybe they just did it for precaution. Maybe it's just, I don't know if it's a pinched nerve or whatever the case may be. But we'll find out more come Wednesday when practice starts.
Yeah. That's what they thought it was going to be a stinger, but I wasn't sure if it was anything more serious. So, because we're going to need him against Saquon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's the best. Judon, it'll be great just to have those 2 out there. You got Judon on the edge. You got you got Shaq Thompson out there, definitely. So need all our weapons.
Collecting old D ends like Infinity Stones right now, but whatever. Let's get Von Miller back. Whatever it takes to get him over the hump. I'm gonna agree with you guys though. I do think they win this one because if you look at this year, they've beaten all their toughest competition outside of Houston, which is just a different animal. They have their number, but their losses are to Atlanta, Miami, and New England, where I do think the Bills kind of took New England a little light in week 5. But they play up to their competition as well. So I do think they pull this one off. And if they do, and the Bills have victories over Mahomes and Lamar, Burrow, Hurts, May, Baker, every MVP candidate outside of the ones they didn't play, I think fans are going to feel really good heading into the playoffs, as I think they should. But before we say goodbye, I do want to just thank our viewers and our listeners real quick. Just want to thank you guys. I mean, you guys right now, we have, I know we were over 1,000 people watching us, and this is a completely different time than we normally do it. Just kind of threw it out there on social media and then was still a little bit late to do it. And you all still joined us and watching us. And right now we have almost 2,000 people watching. So you guys make this pod what it is.
Fan base, baby.
Yeah. we hit 2,000 actually per our producers during this pod. So shout out to you guys with Bills Mafia. You have made this podcast that just started a couple months ago something I look forward to each and every week. I'm going to assume that you guys also look forward to it. You join us. You're with us here every week if you're watching it and stuff. So we appreciate that. And just Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you and your guys' fam. And I will open it up to you guys if you want to say anything before we say goodbye to the people.
Fan base, I always appreciate you, Bills Mafia. You know, there's not a better fan base in this entire world, stratosphere, universe, whatever it is. We are the best. I mean, it was kind of crazy still in Cleveland. You heard the cheers like it was the Cleveland fans, but they were Bills fans. So we're well represented every single game by, you know, the best fan base in the NFL. So I appreciate everything that you do. And, man, we got to get this dub this week. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, y'all. Shout out to Bills Mafia. Shout out to Grills Mafia. You know, cheers to y'all. Safe travels to everyone who's, you know, going anywhere for the holidays. You know, you get right and be with your people. Let's cheer on the Bills together as a fan base, and let's have a wonderful holiday season and a great new year when we bring home that Lombardi, huh?
Yes, sir.
And the legend isn't with us today, but I'm sure if he was here, he would echo everything that we just said. No one is more about community building than the legend Stevie Johnson, but he is with family right now, so that is why he was unable to join us. But that's going to do it for us today. For Muki, for Drew, this has been the Bills, the Sick Bills Banter Sick Podcast. Join us every single week where we get to break down some Bills. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Catch you next week.
Merry Christmas, Stevie Corleone.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Bills Banter on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.